A student's overview of the Ageless wisdom was carefully compiled from the following books by Alice A. Bailey. A Treatise on Cosmic Fire. Esoteric Psychology, Volumes 1 and 2. Esoteric Healing. Esoteric Astrology. The Rays and the Initiations. Students are encouraged to download the free PDF version of this overview by following the link in the video's description, or to order a printed copy at cost from thebookpatch.com, but are advised to read the original, unabridged books in order to gain deeper insight into the ageless wisdom. Students are also invited to join our online study group at facebook.com/groups/students of the ageless wisdom. Chapter 39, Esoteric Psychology Volume 2. The Ray of the Personality. As we start this new part of our study, we can proceed to consider man as he is upon the physical plane, in the majority of cases. Speaking with a broad generalization, we could say that human beings can be grouped into 4 classes. 1. A few who are under the influence of their souls, or who are rapidly becoming so. 2. Personalities, of whom there are many today. 3. A vast number of people who are awakening to mental consciousness. 4. The great mass of humanity, who are the unawakened human beings and the bulk of the population of the world. The majority of the souls in the human family come into incarnation in obedience to the urge or the desire to experience, and the magnetic pull of the physical plane is the final determining factor. They are, as souls, oriented towards earth life. Increasingly, awakening souls, or those who are, occultly speaking, coming to themselves, enter into physical life experience only dimly aware of another and higher pull. They are, therefore, without as true an orientation to the physical plane as are the bulk of their fellow men. These awakening souls are the ones who can at times be influenced to retard or delay their entry into physical life in order to effect a conditioning of the processes of civilization. Or again, they can be prevailed upon to hasten their entrance into life so as to be available as agents for such a conditioning process. This process is not carried forward by them through any emphasized or intelligently appreciated activity, but it is naturally brought about by the simple effect of their living in the world and their pursuing their life objectives. They thus condition their surroundings by the beauty, the power, or the influence of their lives, and are themselves frequently quite unconscious of the effect that they are having. It will be apparent therefore, that the needed changes in our civilization can be brought about rapidly or slowly, according to the number of those who are living as souls in training. The second category of human beings, who are here designated as personalities, is also becoming powerful. It merges with both the first group and the third. We have in the world today the following types of personalities. A. Personalities who are rapidly shifting into the category of conditioning souls. B. Personalities who are integrated, coordinated men and women, but who are not yet under the influence of the soul. Their self-will and self-love is such a powerful factor in their lives that they exert a determining influence upon their environment. C. Awakening personalities are also found. These merge with our third classification and are the cream or the best expression of the third group. The one unit descends towards the ascending related unit, speaking in terms of an approach from 2 directions. This takes place under divine impulsion and human aspiration, and both act equally under 1. The law of karma. 2. The law of necessity. 3. The law of cycles. 4. The law of attraction. 3 types of energy meet and blend in the personality, finding their expression through the medium of an outer tangible form which is itself colored, motivated and conditioned by a 4th type of energy, the energy of basic matter. This basic matter is the product of the first solar system, and the energy of which it is composed does not, therefore, belong to our solar system at all, except through an act of appropriation, performed by our planetary logos at the dawn of the creative activity of God. Seeking to impress, impel and motivate this group of 4 energies is the energy of the informing, indwelling soul. This 5th type of energy is itself dual in nature, being the transcendent archetype of both mind and emotion, or will and love. These 6 energies in their turn are animated or impelled by the life of God Himself, thus making the 7 energies now in manifestation. This is, of course, well known, as the theory constitutes the very bones of the occult body of truth, and in this statement is formulated the essential structure upon which esotericism is built. I have stated it purely in terms of energy, and not of principles or bodies, so as to bring the ageless wisdom into line with modern truth and scientific conclusions. End of page 196. The energies of the personality. 1. The energy of mind. The force of manas. The reflection of divine will and purpose. Motivation. The impulse to plan, under the law of synthesis. 2. The energy of sentiency. The capacity to respond. Emotional feeling, astral energy. The reflection of love. The force of desire. The impulse to aspire. The divine evolutionary urge. The tendency to attract, to be magnetic, under the law of attraction. 3. The energy of life. The capacity to integrate, to coordinate. The force of the vital or etheric body. The reflection of intelligent activity or divine movement. The impulse to act, to be energetic, under the law of economy. 4. The energy of dense matter. Externalized activity. The automatic reactions of the outer sheath. The densest point of unity. The lowest aspect of synthesis. The energies of the soul. 5. The energy of buddhi. The force of divine, reasoning love. The intuition. This is part of the flower of attractive energy and focuses itself in the love petals of the egoic lotus. Its reflection is found in the astral, emotional, sentient consciousness of the personality. 6. The energy of Atma. The force of the divine will. The embodiment of divine purpose. This focuses itself in the sacrifice petals of the egoic lotus. Its reflection is found in the mind nature of the personality. The energy of the spirit. 7. The energy of the one life. These energies constitute the human being, a unit of energy. They make him essentially an active, intelligent, loving, living, human being. They are unfolded sequentially in time and space and, as a result of the great experiment of evolution, bring him eventually to the full flowering of his nature, and to a full expression of the 7 types of energy which condition him. The question arises as to when man can become aware in his own personal and separated consciousness, as registered in the waking brain, of the truth of the existence of this subordinate of energies. I would reply. 1. Unevolved man and low-grade human beings are aware of the urges of the automatic physical nature and the impulses of the vital or etheric body. 2. Awakening human beings are coordinating and becoming aware of both these primitive urges and impulses, plus the sentient and emotional reactions of the emotional or astral body. 3. Intelligent humanity is, in due time, conditioned by the urges, impulses and sentiency of the 3 lower types of energy, plus the energy of the mind. When this has really been achieved, the man is then definitely an aspirant upon the probationary path. 4. Aspirants are now becoming aware of the 5th type of basic energy, that of the soul. This response to soul energy, and the blended activity of the soul energies, Buddhi-Atma, produce the unfolding of the outer layer of petals, the knowledge petals, which are formed of 3 types of force. A. Manasic energy. The energy of the abstract levels of the mental plane, inherent in the soul. B. Mental energy. This is the energy of the concrete levels of the mental plane, and is definitely a contribution of the human being himself. C. The energy of the mind found in matter itself. This is inherent mind, and is inherited from an earlier solar system. End of page 197. These 3 aspects of mind energy are thus blended and are a synthesis of the intelligent force of deity. They embody as much of the mind of God as a human being can embrace in time and space, for they are a. The energy of intelligent life, coming from God the Father. B. The energy of intelligent soul or consciousness, coming from God the Son. C. The energy of intelligent matter coming from God the Holy Spirit. 5. The disciples of the world are occupied with the integration of the personality with the soul, or with the synthesis of the first 5 aspects of energy as the lotus petals of love come into conscious recognition, and the intuition begins faintly to function. These petals of love, which are only symbolic forms of expressing energy, have a dual activity. They attract upward the planetary energies and bring downward the energies of the spiritual triad, the expression of the monad. 6. Initiates are becoming conscious of the 6th type of energy, that of Atma, the will aspect of spirit. This causes them to work with the plan and through the lotus petals of sacrifice to bring the service of the plan into being. This is ever the aim of the initiate members of the hierarchy. They understand, express and work with the plan. 7. After the 3rd initiation, the disciple begins to work with, and to understand the significance of spirit, and his consciousness shifts gradually out of the soul into that of the monad in the same way as the consciousness of the personality shifted out of the lower awareness into that of the soul. It would be useful to bear in mind here what was earlier pointed out. A. The mental body is governed by rays 1-4-5. B. The astral body is governed by rays 2-6. C. The physical body is governed by rays 3-7. This is often forgotten and people will have to readjust their ideas in this matter. It is by an understanding of these dominant types of force as they condition the various vehicles that the true nature of the problem of psychology will emerge and the right clue to the solution will appear. In considering the personality, therefore, and its conditioning rays, we will study a. The appropriation of the bodies. a. Their building psychologically, or their coherent construction. b. Their development and eventual alignment. c. Their interrelation in the life of the personality. b. The coordination of the personality. a. The techniques of integration, 7 in number. b. The technique of fusion, leading to the emergence of the ray of the personality. c. The technique of duality, divinely understood, or the relation of the ray of the personality and the ray of the soul. c. Some problems of psychology, arising from the point in evolution of the personality. a. The technique of appropriation. Physical and etheric integration. b. The technique of acquiescence. Astral or psychic healing. c. The technique of enlightenment. Mental education. Construction of the sheaths. In theosophical literature, there is much talk anent the various elementals or unilords which compose, constitute and control the lower nature. These, in their triple totality, form the personality. They are of man's own creation, and form the basis of the problem which he, as a soul, has always to face until the final liberation is achieved. The mental elemental, the astral elemental and the physical elemental have a definite life of their own which is colored by the rays upon which these various bodies or elementals have their being, until the man has reached a relatively high point in evolution. End of page 198. The problem can be posited and its extent made clear by the following tabulation, which gives the rays that may be supposed or imagined to govern or control a problematical or hypothetical man in a particular incarnation. 1. The ray of the monad, the life aspect, second ray of love wisdom. 2. The ray of the soul, the consciousness aspect, first ray of will or power. 3. The ray of the personality, the matter aspect, second ray of love wisdom. A. Ray of the mental body, fifth ray of concrete science. B. Ray of the astral body, sixth ray of devotion. C. Ray of the physical body, second ray of love wisdom. Certain ideas should here be considered. They are here given in the form of statements, but we will not elaborate them, simply leaving them to the student for his pondering and careful thinking. 1. Only initiates are in a position to sense, determine, or discover the nature of their monadic ray or that of their disciples. The monadic ray is that life element in man with which they have definitely to deal as they seek to prepare him for initiation. It is the unknown quantity in a man's nature. It does not, however, greatly complicate his problem in the three worlds of ordinary human endeavor, as it remains relatively quiescent until after the third initiation, though it basically conditions the etheric body itself. 2. The three rays, termed, in the secret doctrine, the three periodical vehicles, are therefore the rays of the monad, the ego and the personality, and are essentially three streams of energy, forming one great life stream. These relate a human being to the three aspects or expressions of divinity in manifestation. A. The monadic ray is the energy which, when consciously employed, relates the initiate to the father or spirit aspect and gives him the freedom of the solar system. B. The egoic ray, when consciously utilized, relates the disciple to the second aspect of divinity and gives him the freedom of the planetary sphere. C. The personality ray, again when consciously governed and employed, relates a man to the matter or substance aspect of divinity and gives him the freedom of the three worlds and of the subhuman kingdoms in nature. 3. Taking the hypothetical chart given above, students should notice how the rays of the personality relate them, within the sphere or periphery of their own manifestation, to the major rays of the monad, ego or personality. This is a correspondence, within the microcosmic manifestation, to the macrocosmic situation, touched upon in the previous paragraph. In the case cited, which is one of quite usual occurrence, we find that a. The fifth ray of the mental body relates the man to his egoic ray, thereby facilitating soul contact. Had it related him to his monadic ray, a very different situation would have eventuated. The line of 1-3-5-7 must ever be remembered. B. The sixth ray of the astral body relates the man to his monadic ray, and it will finally constitute his astral-bodic approach to life, and will be employed when he takes the fourth initiation. This ray relates him also to his personality and intensifies his natural problem. The line of 2-4-6 must also be carefully borne in mind. C. The second ray quality of his physical body relates him both to the personality and finally to the monad. It is, therefore, for him a great problem, a great opportunity, and a great linking energy. It makes the life of the personality exceedingly dominant and attractive, and at the same time facilitates the future contact, whilst in a physical body, with the monad. His problem of soul consciousness will not, however, be so easily solved. You will note also that the monad, second ray, the astral body, sixth ray, and the physical body, second ray, are all along the same line of activity, or of divine energy, creating a most interesting psychological problem. The soul, first ray, and the mental body, fifth ray, are along another line entirely, and this combination presents great opportunity and much difficulty. End of page 199. 4. In the lower expression of the man whose psychological chart we are considering, the psychologist will find a person who is intensely sensitive, inclusive and self-willed. Because of the fact that the second-ray personality and the physical body are related by similarity of ray, there will also be a clearly pronounced tendency to lay the emphasis upon material inclusiveness and tangible acquisition, and there will, therefore, be found, in this person, an exceedingly selfish and self-centered man. He will not be particularly intelligent, as only his fifth-ray mental body relates him definitely and directly to the mind aspect of deity, whilst his first-ray egoic force enables him to use all means to plan for himself, and to use the will aspect to acquire and to attract the material good he desires or thinks he needs. His predominant second-ray equipment, however, will eventually bring the higher values into play. In the higher expression of the same man, and when the evolutionary cycle has done its work, we will have a sensitive, intuitive, inclusive disciple whose wisdom has flowered forth, and whose vehicles are outstandingly the channel for divine love. It will also be apparent that, as the relationships of the different aspects of a man's manifested life appear, his 7 centers are related to the 7 aspects or qualities which embody a man's essential divinity. The following is therefore of interest. 1. The head center monad. Life. First aspect. 2. The heart center soul. Consciousness. Second aspect. 3. The ajna center personality. Substance. Third aspect. 4. The throat center mind. The mental aspect and energy. 5. The solar plexus center emotion. The astral aspect and energy center. 6. The sacral center physical. 7. The root center life itself. Monadic center. The first 3 are the 3 major centers for the advanced man. I diverged briefly for a moment and took up the subject of the rays of the 3 bodies of the personality before completing the detail of the outline previously given on the ray of personality. This I did with deliberation, as I was anxious to have clearly established the difference which will be found existing between the rays governing the elementals of the 3 lower bodies and that of the personality. The life of these 3 elementals is founded primarily in the 3 lowest centers in the etheric body. 1. The sacral center, the mental elemental life transferred later to the throat center. 2. The solar plexus center, the astral elemental life, transferred later to the heart center. 3. The root center, the physical elemental life, transferred later to the head center. The life of the indwelling soul is focused in the 3 higher centers. 1. The head center, the mental consciousness. 2. The throat center, the creative consciousness. 3. The heart center, the feeling consciousness. 2 important stages in the life of the man take place during the evolutionary process. First, the stage wherein there comes the first great fusion or assertion of control by the soul. At this time the ajna center comes alive. This stage precedes a man's passing on to the probationary path and is the stage which distinguishes the average man and woman at this time in the world. Second, the stage wherein there comes a more definite spiritual awakening. At this time the center at the base of the spine comes into rapport, through its circulating life, with all the centers in the etheric body. This step precedes what is called initiation and signalizes the arousing into activity of the central focus of power at the heart of each of the chakras or etheric lotuses. In all the previous stages, it has been the petals of the various lotuses, chakras or vortices of force which have come into increased motion. At this later stage, the hub of the wheel, the point in the center or the heart of the lotus comes into dynamic action and the whole inner force body becomes related in all its parts and begins to function harmoniously. End of page 200. This is of value to remember, and upon this the teaching of esoteric psychology is based. We have therefore 3 stages of activity spread over a long evolutionary cycle, and differing according to ray and to the karmic conditions engendered. 1. The stage of being alive. This is the earliest and simplest stage wherein the man functions as an elementary human being. During this period all the centers are necessarily active in a slow and rhythmic way. All have a light in them, but it is dim and feeble. All have the 3 petals, not more, functioning, and this the clairvoyant can see. As time goes on, all the petals in the centers below the diaphragm become active, but they are not dynamic in the essential sense, nor are they brilliant focal points of light. 2. The stage of the first fusion as related above. Then all the centers have their petals vibrant. They are, at the same time, conditioned by a. the fact as to whether the drive of the life is above or below the diaphragm. b. the nature of the particular ray energy. c. the stage already reached upon the evolutionary way. d. the type of physical mechanism, which is itself conditioned by the karma of the person and the field of service chosen in any one life. e. the quality of the aspiration and main other factors. 3. the stage of the second fusion, in which the initiate expresses himself through all the centers and in which both the group of petals and the central point of energy are fully and dynamically alive. Christ symbolically expressed these 3 stages for us at the birth experience, the transfiguration enlightenment, and the ascension liberation. In summarizing, it might be said: 1. At the stage of individualization, the centers throughout the body awaken and begin to function faintly. The centers below the diaphragm receive the major impact and effect of the incoming life. 3 of the petals in all centers are awake and demonstrate activity, quality and light. 2. At the stage of intellection, wherein a man is a self-conscious, self-directed being, and a definite personality, all the petals in all the centers are awake, but the central focal point of each center is quiescent. It glows with a faint light, but there is no true activity. The centers above the diaphragm, with the exception of the ajna and head centers, are receptive to impact and inflow of life. 3. At the stage of discipleship, when the individuality and the personality are beginning to merge, the 2 head centers are becoming increasingly active. The petals are all vibrant, and the dynamic life of the soul is beginning to sweep the center of the lotus into activity. The light of the petals in the centers below the diaphragm is beginning to dim, but the center of the lotus is becoming more and more brilliant and living. All the above process takes much time, and it includes the path of probation or purification and the path of discipleship. 4. At the stage of initiation, when complete at-one-ment is established, the 4 centers above the diaphragm become dominantly active. The center at the base of the spine comes into awakened activity, and the 3 fires of the matter aspect, of the soul, and of the spirit, fire by friction, solar fire, and electric fire, merge and blend. End of page 201. All the centers in the body of the initiate can be intensified electrically at will and used simultaneously, or one at a time, according to the demand and the need which must be met by the initiate. All the above takes place progressively upon the path of initiation. This same truth can also be expressed in terms of the rays. At the stage of individualization, the rays governing the physical and emotional bodies are dominant. The Soul ray is scarcely felt and only flickers with a dim light at the heart of each lotus. At the stage of intellection, the ray of the mental body comes into activity. This second process is itself divided into two stages. That in which the lower concrete mind is developing. That in which the man becomes an integrated, coordinated person. At each of these latter two stages, the rays of the lower nature become increasingly powerful. Self-consciousness is developed, and then the personality becomes clearer and clearer, and the three elementals of the lower nature, the force of the so-called three Unilords, the triple energies of the integrated personality, come steadily under the control of the ray of the personality. At this stage, therefore, four rays are active in the man, four streams of energy make him what he is, and the ray of the soul is beginning, though very faintly, to make its presence felt, producing the conflict which all thinkers recognize. At the stage of discipleship, the soul ray comes into increased conflict with the personality ray, and the great battle of the pairs of opposites begins. The soul ray or energy slowly dominates the personality ray, as it in its turn has dominated the rays of the three lower bodies. At the stage of initiation, the domination continues, and at the third initiation, the highest kind of energy which a man can express in this solar system, that of the monad, begins to control. At the stage of individualization, a man comes into being, he begins to exist. At the stage of intellection, the personality emerges with clarity and becomes naturally expressive. At the stage of discipleship, he becomes magnetic. At the stage of initiation, he becomes dynamic. End of chapter 39.